Her family forced her to marry her sister's millionaire fiance in Coma. Then the unbelievable happened. The hospital room was silent, except for the steady beep of machines. Olivia stood in a wedding dress that wasn't meant for her, staring at the unconscious man in the bed. David Chen, her sister's fiancé, the man she was about to marry while he couldn't even open his eyes to object. "Do you, Olivia, take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband?" The priest's words felt like a mockery in the sterile room. Her mother's sharp elbow dug into her ribs. "Say it," she hissed. Olivia's voice came out as a whisper. "I do." Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Mr. J, bringing you another incredible story of love and unexpected twists. Before we dive deeper into Olivia's unbelievable journey, comments "I am with you, Mr. J," and where you're watching this from. And don't forget to like, hit that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell if you're new here. The pen felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds as Olivia signed the marriage certificate. Her hand trembled, making her signature look nothing like usual. Around her, her family watched with a mixture of relief and greed in their eyes. "Finally," her mother breathed, "the Chen fortune is secured." But Olivia wasn't thinking about money. She was thinking about how just 3 days ago she'd been a kindergarten teacher living a quiet life. Now she was married to a man she'd never even spoken to. "Mrs. Chen," a nurse appeared at the doorway. "Visiting hours are over, but as his wife, you can stay if you'd like." Wife. The word felt foreign on her tongue. Her family filed out quickly, eager to celebrate their perceived victory. Her mother paused at the door. "You'll move into his penthouse tomorrow. The lawyers will handle everything. Just keep him alive until the papers are signed." And then Olivia was alone with David. She pulled a chair close to his bed, really looking at him for the first time. Even unconscious, with tubes and bandages, she could see why her sister Sarah had been so proud of landing him. Thick dark hair, strong jawline, features that spoke of his mixed heritage. But there was something else too. A gentleness in his face that seemed at odds with what she'd heard about ruthless tech millionaires. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "You deserve better than this. Better than a family using you. Better than—" she gestured at herself, "a substitute bride." The machines continued their rhythmic beeping. David's chest rose and fell steadily. Olivia found herself studying his hands, long fingers, a callus on his right thumb. Working hands, despite his wealth. A folder on the bedside table caught her eye. Medical charts, she assumed, but when she opened it, she found something else entirely. Photos. David with children at what looked like a community center. David teaching an elderly woman to use a tablet. David laughing with a group of teenagers in coding camp t-shirts. "Who are you really?" she murmured. 3 weeks earlier. The memory hit her suddenly, the way traumatic family moments always did. Sarah bursting into their parents' house, designer heels clicking on the floor, engagement ring catching the light. "I'm marrying David Chen," she'd announced. "Can you believe it? Me, married to one of the youngest billionaires in tech." Olivia had offered congratulations from her corner of the room, as always the shadow to Sarah's spotlight. She'd seen the photos Sarah showed, the lavish dates, the jewelry, the trips. But she'd also noticed something else. In every photo, David's smile never quite reached his eyes. "The wedding's in 6 months, Sarah had gushed. "Though honestly, I wish it was sooner. Do you know how many women are after him?" Their mother had been ecstatic. The family's struggling restaurant business, their mounting debts, all of it would be solved by this union. Olivia had said nothing about the transactional feel of it all. She never did. Then came the accident. "Your sister ran the moment the doctors said you might not wake up," Olivia told David's still form. "Took off with your business partner, Kevin. Apparently they'd been... well, you probably suspected, didn't you?" She found herself talking to him more and more as the hours passed. It felt safe somehow, confessing to someone who couldn't judge her. "My family panicked. The wedding contracts, the business merger, everything depended on a marriage happening. And suddenly everyone was looking at me, the spare daughter, the one who never says no." A tear slipped down her cheek. "I said no this time. I said it was wrong, that it was fraud, that you deserve dignity. But my mother, she said if I didn't do this, they'd lose everything. The restaurant, the house. My little brother wouldn't be able to finish college. And I'm weak. I've always been weak. She reached out, almost touching his hand, then pulled back. I'll take care of you, I promise. I won't let them hurt you or take advantage. I'll protect what's yours until you wake up. If you wake up. The next morning, Olivia arrived with a small bag of belongings and a heart full of dread. The penthouse apartment was everything she'd expected. Floor-to-ceiling windows, minimalist furniture, the kind of kitchen that looked like it had never been used. But there were surprises too. A reading nook with worn paperbacks, a guitar in the corner, children's drawings stuck to the refrigerator. "Thank you, Mr. David," scrawled in crayon. "The nurses said you like when people read to you," she said when she returned to the hospital that afternoon. She'd brought one of his books, a collection of poetry, margins filled with his handwriting. Have you ever found yourself in an impossible situation, where doing the right thing seemed to hurt everyone? Comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Days blended into weeks. Olivia developed a routine, mornings at the hospital, afternoons handling the avalanche of get-well cards from David's students and community programs, evenings back at his bedside. She learned things about him from the people who visited. Mrs. Rodriguez from the community center, who told her how David had personally funded their after-school program. James, a teenager, who credited David with keeping him off the streets by teaching him to code. "He's not like other rich guys," James had said. "He actually cares, you know?" Olivia did know. She was beginning to understand the man her sister had seen only as a bank account. "The lawyers are getting impatient," her mother announced during one of her rare visits. "They need you to sign the power of attorney papers. As his wife, you can make decisions about his assets." "No." Her mother's face went red. "What do you mean, no?" "I mean no. I'm not signing anything that gives me control over his money." "Olivia, don't be stupid. This is why we did this." "This is why you did this," Olivia shot back, surprising herself with her vehemence. "I did it to save our family from bankruptcy, but I won't steal from him." "It's not stealing if you're his wife." "I'm not really his wife." The words burst out of her. "I'm a stranger who said words over his unconscious body. That doesn't give me the right to take what he built." Her mother stormed out, but Olivia felt lighter than she had in weeks. She'd found her line, the thing she wouldn't cross. That evening, she sat beside David with a laptop, going through his emails. His assistant had given her access for urgent matters only. "Your foundation wants to know about the scholarship approvals," she told him. "I hope you don't mind, but I approved them. Those kids were counting on you." She'd become comfortable with the one-sided conversations, finding solace in caring for someone who couldn't demand anything from her. Sarah called today, from Bali apparently, with Kevin. She wanted to know if you'd woken up yet. "I think she's running out of money." She closed the laptop and leaned back in her chair. "You know what's funny? She had everything I thought I wanted. Beauty, confidence, the ability to make people notice her. But she threw away the one thing that actually mattered. You. Not your money. You." Without thinking, she reached out and took his hand. It was warm, solid, real. "I've been reading your journals. I'm sorry. I know it's an invasion of privacy, but I wanted to understand. You wrote about feeling lonely, about wondering if anyone would ever see you instead of your bank account, about Sarah, how you hoped she'd eventually look deeper." She squeezed his hand gently. "I see you, David. I see the man who spends weekends teaching kids to code, who reads poetry and plays guitar, who still visits his elderly neighbor every week to make sure she's okay. I see you." A tear dropped onto their joined hands. "And I'm so sorry that we failed you, that my family saw dollar signs, that Sarah saw a lifestyle, that I wasn't strong enough to stop this." She didn't notice the slight pressure against her palm, didn't see the flutter of eyelashes. Not until a hoarse voice whispered, "Don't cry." Olivia's head snapped up. David's eyes were open, dark, confused, but definitely open. "Oh my God." She reached for the call button, hands shaking. You're awake. I need to get the doctor. Wait. His grip on her hand tightened weakly. You're not Sarah. The words hit like a physical blow. Of course, he didn't know. He'd been unconscious for everything. No, she whispered. I'm not Sarah. I'm Olivia, her sister. And Oh God, David, I'm so sorry. If this story is touching your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe for more emotional journeys like this one. The doctors swarmed in, pushing Olivia aside. She watched from the doorway as they checked his vitals, tested his responses, marveled at his recovery. Through it all, David's eyes kept finding hers, full of questions she dreaded answering. Hours later, when the medical staff finally left them alone, Olivia sat in her usual chair, hands twisted in her lap. Tell me, David said simply. His voice was still rough, but his gaze was clear. So she did. Everything. The accident, Sarah's abandonment, the family's desperation, the forced marriage. She spoke until her throat was raw, unable to meet his eyes. I'll sign whatever you need, she finished. Annulment papers, fraud charges against my family, whatever you want. I know what we did was unforgivable. The silence stretched so long she finally looked up. David was staring at the ceiling, expression unreadable. 2 months, he finally said. I've been here 2 months. 7 weeks and 3 days. And you've been here every day? Except when they made me go home to shower. Reading to me, handling my foundation, protecting my assets from your own family. It wasn't a question, but Olivia nodded anyway. David turned his head to look at her. Why? Because it was the right thing to do. Because you're a good person who helps others. Because... She swallowed hard. Because somewhere along the way I started caring about you, the real you, not your money or status. You. You know that sounds crazy, right? Caring about an unconscious man? A laugh bubbled up, surprising them both. Everything about this is crazy. I'm married to my sister's fiance, who I'd never met. You woke up to find a stranger as your wife. We're living in some twisted fairy tale. Sleeping Beauty in reverse, David murmured, and the fact that he could joke made her heart lighter. David, I heard you. The words stopped her cold. What? Not all the time, but sometimes I was aware. Floating in darkness, but hearing voices, yours most of all. He turned to face her fully. You read me poetry, told me about your students, defended me against your mother. Olivia's face burned. Oh God, you heard everything? Not everything, but enough. His expression was intense, searching. Enough to know that you're nothing like your sister, enough to know that you sat here day after day, not out of obligation, but out of kindness. David, I need to tell you something. About Sarah and me. He struggled to sit up, and Olivia automatically moved to help, adjusting his pillows. I knew she was cheating. With Kevin. I'd known for weeks before the accident. Olivia's mouth fell open. But why didn't you? Because I was a coward. Because breaking up with her meant admitting I'd been wrong. That everyone who warned me about her was right. That she never loved me, just what I could give her. His smile was bitter. The accident almost felt like cosmic justice, like the universe saving me from my own stupidity. Don't say that. You didn't deserve, didn't I? I let her parade me around like a prize. I funded her shopping sprees and looked the other way when she flirted with other men. I was so desperate to believe someone could love me that I ignored every red flag. That's not stupidity, Olivia said fiercely. That's hope. That's being human. David studied her for a long moment. You really believe that? I do. Like you did at our wedding. The words hung between them, heavy with implication. Olivia felt tears threatening again. I'm sorry, that was cruel. David reached for her hand. Can I tell you something strange? She nodded, not trusting her voice. When I was in the darkness, floating between here and nowhere, your voice became my anchor. You'd read poetry and I'd fight to stay close to consciousness just to hear more. You'd tell me about your kindergartners, and I'd picture their faces. You'd defend me to your mother, and I'd feel protected, cared for, seen. His thumb traced circles on her palm. I fell in love with your voice before I ever saw your face. Is that crazy? Everything about this is crazy, Olivia whispered, echoing her earlier words. Maybe. But when I opened my eyes and saw you crying over me, not because of what you'd lose if I died, but because you genuinely cared, I knew. Knew what? That I'd finally found her. The person who saw me. Just me. Not the CEO or the millionaire or the catch, just David. Where are you watching from? Let me know in the comments below. I love hearing from our global family of viewers. The next few days were a whirlwind. David's recovery progressed rapidly, surprising his doctors. Olivia stayed by his side, helping with physical therapy, dealing with the business matters that couldn't wait, being a buffer between him and the world. Your sister called again, she told him one afternoon. She's coming back. Apparently, Kevin emptied their accounts and disappeared. David's expression darkened. Of course he did. Kevin was always about the easy score. He looked at Olivia. Are you okay? Seeing her again? I'll be fine. I'm more worried about you. Don't be. I've had 7 weeks of unconsciousness to get over her. His smile was wry. Besides, I've got bigger concerns, like what to do about my marriage to her sister. Olivia's heart sank. I told you I'll sign whatever. What if I don't want an annulment? The words hung in the air. Olivia stared at him, sure she'd misheard. What? I'm saying, what if we don't undo this? What if we try to make it real? David, you've been through trauma. You're not thinking clearly. I've never thought more clearly in my life. He sat up straighter, wincing slightly. Olivia, you've shown me more genuine care in 7 weeks than Sarah did in 2 years. You protected me when I couldn't protect myself. You saw my heart when everyone else saw my wallet. That doesn't mean, doesn't it? How many people would have done what you did? Sat here every day reading poetry to a man who might never wake up, fighting off your own family to protect my interests? Anyone with a conscience? No. His voice was firm. Not anyone. You. Because you're extraordinary and you don't even know it. Before Olivia could respond, the door burst open. Sarah stood there in designer clothes that had seen better days, her perfect makeup unable to hide the stress in her eyes. David, thank God you're awake. She rushed forward, but stopped short when she saw their joined hands. What's going on here? Hello, Sarah. David's voice was calm, almost pleasant. Nice of you to visit. How was Bali? Sarah's face flushed. David, I can explain. No need. Kevin already sent me a very detailed email about your plans. Something about liquidating my assets once you had power of attorney. He tilted his head. Except you forgot one small detail. You weren't my wife anymore. Olivia is. That's ridiculous. Sarah spun to face her sister. You little snake. You planned this all along, didn't you? Pretending to be so innocent while you stole my fiancé. I didn't steal anything, Olivia said quietly. You threw him away the moment the doctors said he might not wake up. I was scared. I was grieving. You were in Bali with his business partner before his surgery was even finished, David said flatly. The hospital has security footage of you leaving. Timestamp shows you didn't even wait to hear if I'd survive. Sarah's mouth opened and closed like a fish, then her expression hardened. Fine, but this marriage is fraudulent. I'll contest it. You'll do nothing. David's voice cut through her threats like ice. Because if you do, I'll press charges for the $50,000 you and Kevin stole from my foundation account. Oh yes, I know about that too. The color drained from Sarah's face. You can't prove. Digital forensics is a wonderful thing, especially when you use your birthday as every password. He leaned back against his pillows, exhaustion showing. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave. You're going to stay away from Olivia and your family, and you're going to be grateful I'm not pressing charges. You can't. I can, and I will. Olivia might be too kind to hold you accountable. But I'm not. His eyes were steel. You made your choice, Sarah. You chose money over love, Kevin over me, yourself over everyone else. Now live with it. Sarah looked between them, her perfect features twisted with rage. You'll regret this, both of you, when the novelty wears off, when you realize she's just a boring kindergarten teacher who can't even get out. David's voice was deadly quiet. Now! Sarah stormed out, slamming the door behind her. In the silence that followed, Olivia realized she was shaking. Hey. David squeezed her hand. You okay? I should be asking you that. She was your fiancée. You loved her. I loved the idea of her, the image she projected. But that woman who just left, that's who she really is, and who you are. He brought her hand to his lips, pressing a gentle kiss to her knuckles. You're worth 1,000 of her. David, I know it's fast. I know it's unconventional. But Olivia, I almost died. I lay in that darkness not knowing if I'd ever wake up, and the only thing that kept me fighting was your voice, your kindness, you. Tears were flowing freely down her face now. I don't know how to be a millionaire's wife. I don't know anything about your world. Then teach me about yours. Show me what it's like to live without everyone wanting something from you. Help me remember why I started the foundation in the first place, to help kids like the ones you teach. He cupped her face gently. Be my anchor, like you've been all along. This is crazy, she whispered. The best things usually are. His thumb wiped away her tears. But if you need time, I understand. We can annul the marriage, start over properly. Date like normal people. I don't want to lose you. Olivia looked at this man, this kind, generous, complicated man who'd been betrayed by everyone who should have protected him, who'd woken up to find a stranger had been caring for him, and instead of anger had shown gratitude, who saw her, really saw her, in a way no one ever had. Normal is overrated, she said finally. And I don't want to lose you either. His smile was like sunrise. So we try. For real this time? We try. If you're loving this story, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. The community center was packed with children, parents, and volunteers. Olivia stood at the side watching David demonstrate coding basics to a group of eager teenagers. His face was animated, passionate, so different from the unconscious man she'd first met. Mrs. Chen, a small voice called. One of her former kindergarten students ran up clutching a certificate. Look, I graduated from the beginner coding class. That's wonderful, Marcus. She knelt to his level. I'm so proud of you. Mr. David says I'm a natural. He says maybe one day I can work at his company. I'm sure you can do anything you set your mind to. As Marcus ran back to his parents, Olivia felt familiar arms wrap around her from behind. Have I told you today that I love you? David murmured in her ear. Only about 12 times. Not nearly enough then. He turned her to face him. Thank you. For what? For saving me. Not just from the coma, from the life I was living before. The emptiness, the loneliness. He gestured around the room. This, helping these kids, making a real difference. I'd lost sight of it. You brought me back. You brought yourself back. I just sat there and read poetry. You did so much more than that. He kissed her softly. You showed me what real love looks like. Patient, kind, expecting nothing in return. David Chen, are you getting sappy on me? Maybe a little. Must be all that poetry you read me. His expression grew serious. I have something to ask you. Olivia's heart skipped. What? He pulled out a small velvet box. I know we're technically already married, but I want to do this right. Olivia Chen, will you marry me? Again? This time with both of us conscious and choosing each other? Through her tears, Olivia saw the ring. Not the massive diamond Sarah had flaunted, but a simple band with a small stone surrounded by tiny books. A teacher's ring. Her ring. Yes, she whispered. Yes, of course, yes. As he slipped the ring on her finger, The community center erupted in cheers. The children, who'd apparently been in on the surprise, threw confetti and shouted congratulations. "Did you plan all this?" Olivia asked, laughing through her tears. "I had help. Turns out your kindergartners are excellent secret keepers when properly motivated with cookies." She kissed him then, pouring all her love into it. When they broke apart, both breathless, David rested his forehead against hers. "No more unconscious grooms," he promised. "This time, I want to be fully present for every moment." "Deal. But I'm keeping the poetry readings. I wouldn't have it any other way." The rooftop garden was intimate, filled with only the people who truly mattered. Olivia's brother, her parents, had chosen not to attend, still bitter about the money. David's found family from the community center, the nurses who'd cared for him, the children they both mentored. Olivia wore a simple dress she'd chosen herself, David in a suit without any designer labels. They'd written their own vows. "Olivia," David began, his voice strong and clear. "7 months ago, I woke up to find a stranger had become my wife, but what I discovered was that you were never a stranger. You were the person I'd been looking for my whole life. Someone who saw past the surface to the man underneath. Someone whose kindness knew no bounds, whose strength came from gentleness, whose love asked for nothing in return." He took a breath, emotion thick in his voice. "You read me poetry when I couldn't respond. You protected me when I couldn't protect myself. You loved me before you even knew me, and every day since you've shown me what partnership really means. Not contracts or mergers or what we can gain from each other, but what we can build together. I promise to see you, really see you every day. To love the teacher who stays late to help struggling students, the woman who cries at dog adoption videos, the wife who still reads poetry to me every night. I promise to be conscious, fully, completely conscious, for every moment of our life together. To never take for granted the miracle of your love." Olivia was crying openly now, not caring who saw. When it was her turn, her voice shook, but her words were clear. "David, I married you the first time out of fear and obligation, but I'm marrying you today out of choice and love. You talk about me saving you, but the truth is, you saved me too. From a life of being invisible, of never speaking up, of accepting less than I deserved. You woke up in more ways than one. You woke up to find me there, but you also woke me up to my own worth. You saw the woman my family never bothered to notice. You valued the things others dismissed. You loved me not despite being ordinary, but because of all the ordinary things that make me who I am. I promise to be your anchor when storms come, to read you poetry whether you're awake or asleep, to protect your generous heart from those who would abuse it, to remind you every day that you are loved for who you are, not what you have, to choose you consciously and deliberately every single day. You may now kiss your bride," the officiant said, smiling. Again. Their kiss was met with cheers, applause, and a shower of flower petals from the children. As they walked back down the aisle hand in hand, Olivia caught sight of Mrs. Rodriguez from the community center, wiping tears. "Now that," the older woman said, "is how a love story should go." The reception was held at the community center, transformed with fairy lights and handmade decorations. Instead of an expensive band, David's teenage coding students had created a playlist. Instead of a 5-star catered meal, it was potluck style, with dishes from all the families they'd helped over the months. "No regrets?" Olivia asked as they swayed to their first dance. "About what?" "This." She gestured around. Sarah would have wanted the plaza, a designer dress, a reception that cost more than most people's houses. "And that's exactly why I'm dancing with you instead of her." He spun her gently. "This is perfect, it's us, it's real. Even the slightly burned casserole from Mrs. Patterson. Especially that. Do you know she spent 3 days practicing that recipe because she wanted to contribute something special?" His eyes were soft. "That's worth more than any 5-star meal." As if summoned by her name, Mrs. Patterson appeared at their side. "I'm sorry about the casserole." "It's perfect," David and Olivia said in unison, then laughed. "For you two." Mrs. Patterson shook her head, smiling. Made for each other. I knew it the first time I saw Olivia reading to you in that hospital. The way she looked at you. That's love, real love. As she walked away, David pulled Olivia closer. She's right, you know. You looked at me with love before you even knew me. I knew you. Maybe not your favorite color or your coffee order, but I knew your heart. That's all that mattered. For the record, it's green and black coffee, no sugar. I know. She smiled up at him. I pay attention. Yes, he said softly. You do. To everything and everyone. It's one of the million things I love about you. The evening continued with speeches that were more like stories. James talking about how David had changed his life. Olivia's brother, slightly tipsy, admitting he'd been wrong about his sister being too quiet to matter. The nurses sharing how they'd never seen such dedication from a spouse. But the moment that broke, everyone came when little Marcus, the kindergartner turned coding student, stood on a chair to speak. Mrs. Olivia taught me to read. Mr. David taught me computers. But together they taught me that love means showing up, even when it's hard, even when the person can't say thank you. That's why I made this. He held up a handmade book, pages slightly crooked, binding held with too much glue. It's all the poems Mrs. Olivia read to Mr. David when he was sleeping. I copied them from the hospital computer because Nurse Betty let me, so you'll always remember. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. Back in the penthouse, their penthouse now, Olivia and David sat on the balcony, still in their wedding clothes, sharing a bottle of champagne. How's this for a plot twist? Olivia mused. Girl forced to marry comatose man ends up finding true love. Better than any movie. David pulled her closer. Though they'd probably add more drama. Evil twins or something. Please. Sarah was enough drama for a lifetime. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the city lights below. Finally, David spoke. I've been thinking about something. What's that? The foundation. I want to expand it. Create a program specifically for family literacy. Parents and children learning together. He looked at her. Run by you if you're interested. Olivia sat up. David, I can't just... Why not? You're brilliant with children. You understand the importance of early education, and you have a gift for seeing potential where others don't. He took her hands. Just like you saw mine. That's different. Is it? You believed in me when I was literally unconscious. Imagine what you could do for families who just need someone to believe in them. The idea was tempting, terrifying but tempting. I don't know anything about running a foundation program. You'll learn. I'll help. We're partners, remember? Partners. The word settled warm in her chest. Can I think about it? Of course, but Olivia... He waited until she met his eyes. Stop selling yourself short. You're not just a kindergarten teacher. You're an educator, an advocate, a woman who stood up to her entire family to protect someone who couldn't protect himself. You're extraordinary. You're biased. Completely. Doesn't make it less true. She kissed him then, slow and deep, tasting champagne and promises. When they pulled apart, she made a decision. Okay. Okay? Let's do it. The literacy program. Together. His smile could have powered the city. Together. As they headed inside, Olivia paused at the bookshelf, pulling out the poetry collection she'd read from so many times. What are you doing? Tradition. She settled on the couch, patting the spot beside her. I read to you every night for 7 weeks. I'm not stopping now. David curled up beside her, head on her shoulder. I love you, Mrs. Chen. I love you too, Mr. Chen. She opened the book to a familiar page, her voice soft in the quiet apartment. I carry your heart with me. I carry it in my heart. I am never without it. As she read, David's hand found hers, fingers intertwining. Outside, the city hummed with life. Inside, 2 hearts beat in rhythm, conscious and choosing each other with every breath. The literacy center was chaos in the best way. Parents and children filled every corner, books scattered across tables, laughter mixing with the sound of pages turning. Olivia moved through the room, stopping to help a father sound out words, praising a mother who'd just finished her first complete book. Her wedding ring caught the light as she gestured, the simple band now joined by the engagement ring David had given her at their second proposal. "Mrs. Chen," a volunteer called, "the new shipment of books is here." Perfect timing. "Can you—" She stopped mid-sentence, hand going to her stomach. "You okay?" the volunteer asked, concerned. "Yes, just... the baby's doing gymnastics today." At 6 months pregnant, Olivia had finally stopped being surprised by the sudden movements. David joked that their child was already eager to join the literacy program. "Speaking of which," the volunteer grinned, "your husband's here." Olivia turned to find David in the doorway, holding takeout bags and wearing the soft smile he reserved just for her. "Thought you might need lunch," he said, crossing to her. "How's our little gymnast?" "Active. I think they're excited about the new books too." He placed a hand on her belly, feeling the movement. "Already a reader. That's my kid." "Our kid," she corrected, then winced. "Our very active kid." "Oof." "Come on." He guided her to a chair. "Time for a break. The center won't fall apart if you sit for 20 minutes. As they ate, watching the families around them, Olivia felt the same wonder she'd experienced every day since the center opened. They'd helped over 200 families in just 6 months. Parents who'd never finished school were reading to their children. Kids who'd struggled were thriving. "No regrets?" David asked, echoing her question from their wedding. "About which part? Marrying my sister's ex-fiancé? Starting a literacy program while pregnant? Eating Chinese food for the 3rd time this week? Any of it, all of it?" Olivia looked at him, really looked. The man who'd woken from a coma to find his life forever changed, who'd chosen love over bitterness, hope over cynicism, who'd taken a chance on a marriage that began with deception and transformed it into something beautiful. "Not a single one," she said firmly. "Well, maybe the Chinese food. I think the baby's protesting." He laughed, the sound drawing smiles from nearby families. "How about Italian tomorrow?" "Deal." She leaned into him. "David, thank you." "For what?" "For waking up. In every sense." He kissed her temple. "Thank you for being there when I did." "Mrs. Olivia, Mr. David." Marcus ran up, now a confident 8-year-old. "Look, I taught my mum to code. She made her first program." They spent the next hour celebrating Marcus's mother's achievement, helping other families, being present in the beautiful chaos of their life. As the day wound down, Olivia found herself back in the quiet corner they designated as the poetry section. She ran her fingers over the spines, remembering those long hours in the hospital, reading to an unconscious man who'd become her whole world. "Finding anything good?" David appeared beside her. "Just remembering." She pulled out a familiar volume. "This is the one I was reading when you woke up." "Neruda. I love you without knowing how or when or from where," he quoted from memory. "I heard every word." "Really? Really? Your voice pulled me back every time." He took the book, setting it aside to pull her close. "Olivia?" "I have something to tell you. Sarah called my office today." Olivia stiffened. They hadn't heard from her sister in over a year. "She wanted money. Apparently her latest boyfriend left her with significant debts." His voice was neutral, careful. "What did you say?" "I referred her to the Foundation's financial literacy program." Olivia burst out laughing. "You didn't." "I did. Even gave her your mother's number. Apparently she's been attending classes since she saw how well the restaurant's doing with proper management." It was true. Once Olivia had stood up to them, her parents had been forced to actually learn business management instead of waiting for a bailout. The restaurant was thriving. "Think she'll actually go?" "Probably not, but the offer stands." He rubbed her back gently. "You okay? I know family stuff is still hard." "I'm okay, really. They made their choices. We made ours." She looked up at him. "I like ours better." "Me too." He glanced at his watch. "Speaking of choices, we need to get going. The prenatal class starts in 30 minutes. "Oh God, is that today? I completely forgot." Good thing you married someone detail-oriented." He helped her gather her things. "Though I still think we should skip the breathing exercises. I've been unconscious. I'm pretty sure I've got the whole not breathing thing down." "That's not funny." "It's a little funny." She swatted his arm, but she was smiling. This was their life now. Gentle teasing about their unusual beginning, building something meaningful together, preparing for their child. As they left the center, Olivia caught sight of their reflection in the window. David's arm around her, her hand on her growing belly, both of them glowing with contentment. "What?" David asked, noticing her pause. "Just thinking about that first day. Standing in that hospital room in a wedding dress that wasn't mine, marrying a man who couldn't even open his eyes." She turned to him. "If someone had told me then that I'd end up here, you'd have thought they were crazy? Completely insane." She went up on her toes to kiss him. "Good thing the best love stories are a little crazy." "The very best," he agreed. As they walked to their car, Olivia's phone buzzed. A text from one of the nurses who'd cared for David. "Saw the news about your literacy program winning the state award. So proud of you both. P.S. Told you that first day you two were meant for each other." She did say that, David remembered. Right after you signed the marriage certificate. Said she'd never seen someone look at an unconscious patient with such genuine care. "I was terrified she'd report us for fraud. Instead, she became our biggest cheerleader." He opened the car door for her. "Maybe she saw what took us longer to figure out." "What's that?" "That sometimes the most unexpected beginnings lead to the most beautiful endings." As they drove toward their future, prenatal classes, their growing family, the literacy center, all the lives they'd touched together, Olivia thought about the twists that had brought them here. The sister who'd run, the family who'd schemed, the accident that had changed everything, and the choice to sit beside an unconscious stranger and read him poetry, not knowing it would lead to a love story worth telling. "Hey," she said suddenly, "I love you." David glanced over, smiling at the random declaration. "I love you too." What brought that on? Just thinking about our story, how it started with everyone wanting something from you, your money, your status, your connections. She took his hand, and how it became about two people who just wanted each other. "The only thing worth wanting," he agreed. As they pulled into the parking garage, Olivia felt the baby kick again. Their child would grow up knowing they were wanted, chosen, loved for exactly who they were. No conditions, no expectations, just love. "Ready for breathing class?" David asked. "Ready for anything," Olivia replied. And she meant it. Because when you've already survived the impossible, a coma, a forced marriage, family betrayal, starting over, everything else is just another chapter in the story. And theirs was just beginning. "Mama, tell the story again." 4-year-old Emma Chen bounced on the hospital bed, careful not to jostle the newborn in Olivia's arms. "Which story, sweetheart?" Olivia asked, though she already knew. "The Sleeping Prince story about Daddy." David laughed from his chair beside them. "Am I the prince now? I thought I was the beauty in this scenario." "Daddy," Emma giggled. "You're silly." "He is silly," Olivia agreed, smiling at her husband. "But yes, I'll tell the story." As she began the now familiar tale, edited for young ears, about a brave princess who saved a sleeping prince with poetry and kindness, Olivia marveled at how far they'd come. The literacy center now had 3 locations. Her parents had apologized, finally seeing the value in what she and David had built versus what they'd tried to take. Even Sarah had eventually found her way to one of their financial literacy classes, humbled and seeking a fresh start. But the best part was this: their family. Emma, who had David's eyes and Olivia's quiet strength. Baby Thomas, just 2 days old, who'd entered the world with his father fully conscious and present for every moment. "And then what happened?" Emma prompted when Olivia paused. "And then," David picked up the story, "the prince woke up and saw that the princess was the most beautiful, kind, smart person in the whole world. And he said, 'Will you marry me for real this time?' And she said yes," Emma cheered, "because they loved each other." "That's right," Olivia confirmed, "because they loved each other." More than anything, David added, meeting Olivia's eyes over their daughter's head. More than anything, she echoed. As Emma chattered about wanting to be a princess who saved princes with books, and baby Thomas made soft newborn sounds, Olivia felt the profound rightness of this moment, this life, this love that had begun in the strangest way possible. "No regrets?" David asked quietly, their old refrain. "Not one," Olivia answered. "Not a single one." And in that hospital room, so different from the one where their story began, surrounded by the family they'd chosen and created, reading stories and making memories, they knew the truth. The best love stories aren't the ones that start perfectly. They're the ones where two people choose each other, again and again, conscious and committed, through every unexpected chapter. "Read another story, Mama," Emma requested. "Of course, baby. Which one?" "The poetry one, the one you read to Daddy." Olivia reached for the well-worn book on the bedside table. They'd brought it to the hospital, a good luck charm for the delivery. As she opened to a familiar page, David's hand found hers, wedding rings clicking softly together. "I carry your heart with me," she began. "I carry it in my heart." And in that moment, with their daughter listening wide-eyed and their son sleeping peacefully, Olivia knew that every strange, difficult, unexpected moment had been worth it. Because this was their happily ever after. Not perfect, but real. Not easy, but chosen. And absolutely, unbelievably worth every single moment. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey of love, hope, and second chances. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear that love can bloom in the most unexpected places. Comment below and tell me, what part of David and Olivia's story resonated with you the most? Have you ever experienced an unexpected blessing from a difficult situation? Remember, sometimes the most beautiful love stories begin with the most unlikely circumstances. Keep your heart open. You never know when your own miracle might be waiting just around the corner. Until next time, this is Mr. J, reminding you that true love isn't about perfect beginnings. It's about choosing each other through every imperfect moment. Stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next story.